What's happening, everyone? I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion.com, and now that I've had the PlayStation Vita for over a year now, I think it's about time I review the system itself. So for this review, I'll be going over the design, hardware, performance, and give you guys a final verdict on a scale of 1 to 5. So let's begin by going over the design. As you can see right off the bat, the PlayStation Vita is keeping in line with their old model known as the PlayStation Portable, or PSP for short. Now, we have a few different models that you can get. For example, here I have the original PlayStation Vita. They do have a slim model available, which features some differences and of course some other colors. If you get your Vita from Japan, Japan does have various amounts of colors like blue, red, white, pink, you name it. While here in the US, we only have the traditional glossy black, which does leave a lot of fingerprint residue. And of course, we also have glacier white. Next up, going over the hardware, the device features a lot of things. As you can see here, a lot of upgrades from PSP, such as the twin stick joysticks. We also have a front-facing camera, a rear-facing camera, a front touchscreen, a rear touch panel, and all that. And of course, other improvements is that instead of using a disc cartridge, we have just a standard cartridge, kind of similar to the Nintendo DS or 3DS, any model of the Nintendo system. And of course, it does feature special memory cards instead of a memory stick compared to the last model. Now, if we go ahead and take a look and see what other features this thing has, as you can see, here is the very front screen that you get, which is kind of a lock screen. All you have to do is use the touch screen and just rip off the page and you're ready to go. So just kind of go over some of the mechanics that you have here in terms of the hardware is obviously, as you can see right off the bat, a lot of the icons are in a bubble shape. In this case, you could actually mess around and customize it to fit your personal needs. Of course, it's not going to have any UI interfaces similar to the PlayStation 3 or PS4, so it's something you can expect. And of course, it's not going to have an option to have the PSP interface at all. This is the interface you're going to be stuck with, so this is something that you might want to get used to. Let me go ahead and zoom in here and give you guys a little bit of a closer look. Okay, so right off the bat, as you can see, there's many icons on the screen, and you could actually customize this in many ways you want. For example, all you have to do is go to a screen and basically hold down one of the buttons, and you're going to basically get an editing tool which you could tweak around. For example, you can already select an icon, move it to anywhere you want. You could even move it to a different page if you don't want it on here. Simple as that, so it's easy to move around. Of course, other options here is you could actually make the background something different. So as you can see here, there's a background image there. I have a green template here, and I have a different image here. How you do that is really simple to do. All you have to do is just click this little box icon on the side. Here you can go to your photos and select a special photo that you want, or you can select from a variety of different colors here. So a lot of customization options to fit your needs, whatever works out for you. So let's go ahead and just pick one by default and go back. So as you can see, now I have a pink background. And of course, you could also add additional pages by going to the last one and basically just adding an additional page here. So for options here, you could easily customize it. So maybe instead of making folders, you could put, okay, here's going to be my RPGs, here's going to be the indie games, here's the fighting games, racing games, sports, you name it. Or you can create a folder and put all your icons there and rename it, kind of like what I have here. Here I have a folder with a bunch of icons that I don't really use, such as web browser, parental controls. So if you're a parent getting this for a child, you do have that as an option. Trophy support. There is party chat located on the device as well, and it doesn't come with that headset. It's something you have to buy separately, and all the typical fun stuff like that. And of course, just like any device, it does feature a lot of different settings to mess with. So let me go ahead and go back here. You could easily go back here, so you could fix a lot of settings if you want. For example, if you don't want to hear the default background music, you can disable it by simply going to the sound and display. And you could easily take off the music right off the bat. You could easily adjust the brightness of the screen. So if it's a bit too bright, you can tune it down. You can turn it up if you want a bit more brightness. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak it down a little bit. So there you go, you have that option to kind of conserve a better battery life if you want, which the battery life can go from 5 to 6 hours, or depending on what you're doing, which thankfully enough, it does feature some products that you can get. For example, you can get something like a Vita Power Grip, which has a built-in battery, which can give you an additional 5 to 6 battery life for the device. So just a lot of different options here. Now, in terms of the actual camera, front facing and rear facing, it's not going to feature 1080p resolution or 720. It's a very default camera altogether. So if it's something you're looking for HD videos, this is not going to be the device for that. And of course, you could also take photos with it by simply going to the photo app, and you could just take photos either with the front facing camera or rear facing camera. So let's go ahead and just take a quick photo really quick by using the front facing camera. Cheese. And of course you can save it. Now the photos itself is not going to be something that's going to be featured in 1080p or something that's going to be to compete with a digital camera. This is just something by default, very basic. The main whole concept here is obviously for gaming. That's the main portion for this device, and of course watching videos as well. Which you do have all your options. You do have the PlayStation Store to feature all your stuff, well organized. And another cool thing about it is that obviously you could actually do something what's called remote play by linking it to your PS4 or PlayStation 3. For example, the other day I was playing The Last of Us Remastered on PS4, but my little brother wanted to watch some cartoons. So what I did was I activated remote play, and I was playing The Last of Us Remastered on my Vita. That is right, I was playing a PS4 game on my Vita while my little brother got to watch his cartoons. That is a cool function that a lot of people are going to use, and of course something to take on the go with them. So now let's go ahead and go over the performance. The overall performance of the device is extremely well, especially for gaming, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a quick segment from a fighting game known as Injustice Gods Among Us. That's right, a fighting game on the PlayStation Vita. So it's really smooth, works out really quite well. Depending on the game, like if it's really well made and they polished it really good, you're not going to really notice any type of lag or frame rate issues. Like for example, one of the games that tends to have a little bit of frame rate issues would be Assassin's Creed Liberations, which does have a little bit of issues going on there, and it's not as well polished, but it does perform really well. As you can see, just a lot of fast-paced moving, whether it's a fighting game, racing game, you pretty much name it. So now let me go ahead and pause this and show you guys an example of a video format. And what's nice about it is that you could have many icons open up. So I could go over here and I could, let's see, open up this. I could open up that. Of course, you could only open up like one game at a time. So if it's something you want to play a different game, you have to log out of the other one. And if you have so many pages open, all you have to do is just tear out the page and you're going to clear up some space. So really simple as that. Let's see, I have another page open, so now I could easily go back to my game. I don't have to exit out, which is a really nice function. So if it's something you just want to pause and come back to later, you can. You do have videos, so you can watch your videos. You could rent movies like you could do stuff like Netflix. You could rent movies from the PlayStation Store. But the overall performance, and of course for videos, you have to exit out, which we'll go ahead and do now. But overall, the performance is great. Now for videos, it's not going to be something with a 1080p resolution. It's only going to be in 720. So you can put full-length movies on here, but you do have to keep in mind that the price of a Vita memory card can get a bit expensive. So you have to keep that in mind. Certain examples, as you can see, the screen is bright and colorful, really simple. And of course, then he has another example here. Let's see what we got here. Maybe a little bit of Star Wars if you want to add some Star Wars The Clone Wars to your show. Whatever it is that you want. Overall, the screen when you're watching movies is fantastic. It's something I like to keep on my nightstand and watch a little bit of Mythbusters or rent a movie before I go to bed. And it's something I use quite a lot. And of course, it also depends on your kind of preference as well. And of course, you can also use this as a media player. So if you want to download a bunch of music and get a device such as the Nyko stand here, which does feature built-in speakers, you can use something like this to kind of bring out your tunes a bit more and listen to that. Or if you just want a bit of a standard one, you could get just a regular bass, plug it in, so as you're watching your movies you can do that. Or something you want to take on the plane, which does feature a flight mode to take on the aircraft, which is really nice. So overall, there's a lot of accessories you can get. And of course, some of the main concerns may be, well, what if it's if you're not comfortable holding the Vita, you're having a little bit of discomfort. Is there something to ease that? Well, you can get other accessories like a grip right here. So if you want more of a controller like feel in your hands, you can get something like this, or a trigger grip. There's a lot of stuff to kind of help make it so the Vita is going to be comfortable for you, and of course different cases to protect it. One of the things I do recommend though is if you do get a Vita is to get a screen protector first thing and put that on. As you can see, I have a screen protector on, but you can't really tell. It's going to make a big difference in protecting your huge screen, because as you can see, it doesn't fold in like a Nintendo DS or 3DS. It's something that's going to be out of the way in the open, unless if you put away in a nice case for protection. Now last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a final verdict. Now overall, the device is really great. There's many games for it. One of the biggest list of games is RPG style games. So if you're an RPG fan, this is probably something that's going to fit your needs. But just to answer the most basic question that I see on the internet is the PlayStation Vita worth getting? And honestly, here's the best way I could answer that. Take a look at all the games the Vita has to offer. Now take a look at the games coming out in the next 6 months. If you could easily pick out a bunch of games, then it's a device that's probably going to have your interest and something that's worth investing into. However, if you look at the list and you can only pick a handful of games and not that many games that seem to interest you, then it's obviously something that's not going to interest you currently, or maybe something later on down the road if you happen to get it for a good deal. So that is the main question. That is something that you have to answer. But in the end, I'm going to give the PlayStation Vita a 5 out of 5. True, the battery life can be a little bit of an issue, but there is accessories to help ease that pain. Even if you get the slim model, the battery life is still going to be relatively the same or slightly longer. But like I said, a 5 out of 5 is what I'm getting the PlayStation Vita. It's a great device. I love this thing. It's a great console-like experience, no matter what game it is. And if you're looking for games like a console-like experience, then I highly recommend the Metal Gear Solid HD collection for the device, and of course Killzone Liberation. But once again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to leave that in the comment section down below. Anyways, I'm Sir James from Gamerfuzion, and always remember guys, Gamerfuzion empowers your gaming.